Your secrets, if you really look at yourself, you would be speechless. What happened to being doctors and teachers? What happened to being your brother's keeper? Nowadays, kids more worried about the
Welcome back to the Sons of Anarchy Prediction Show. I am your host, AJ Marinaccio, and I just got off of a live chat on a little show called Tig and Juice Time with Kim Coates and Theo Rossi. Man, that was awesome, and you can check out some of those clips later in this episode. Brought to you in part by Happy's Head Delivery Service. If you really need a head delivered overnight, well, there's something wrong with you. Enough with the funnies, right? The recap starts off with Jax waking up alone, heads to the kitchen to grab a smoke. And then you watch him stare off to the last place that he saw his wife. Cut to Juice, also smoking a cigarette, while Unser is bound and gagged in the bathroom tub. And now Gemma with a cigarette? Jeez, now I want one. No. Juice grabs a knife. Man, when I first saw it, I'm like, oh, what is Juice gonna do? But luckily for Unser, he was cutting him loose. Then they had a sit down. It was kind of nice. Juice explains that he's hiding from the club, and Unser figures out that Gemma has a part in it, and he still offers some help. Welcome back, August Marks. And you know what? To my surprise, and yeah, my prediction was incorrect, but that's all right. Anyhow, he was perfectly fine, and he actually was happy about Jax's decision with Lynn and the Irish. He promises to find Tara's murderer, but he also asks to keep any of the blowback off the streets. One thing Pope Top marks is patience. It repays all debts, and it's the way to do it. Sweet hazmat suit, Happy? And one heck of a one-liner, but we'll get to that. Oh, and that poor Chinese guy that's in that barrel. I wonder what's in there with him. Rat Boy and Tig exchange some appropriate banter while waiting 4 hours for Lynn's guys to show up for that gun exchange. Finally, the Chinese are on the move, so the boys alert Jax. Meanwhile, Unser heads to the police station to meet with a new lady law. Yeah, the new sheriff. And you know what? She was surprised that he wanted to be a part of the investigation. A consultant. He's so happy to be back on the force. I mean, part-time pay sucks, but for a guy dying of cancer, full bennies, that's awesome. And on his way out, he says, by the way, Sheriff, I'm going to need to take a look at Tara's file, so I can catch up on the case. Gemma finally has a sit-down with Abel, and it was heartbreaking. He asked her, how do you know that Mommy went to heaven? She replies, because all angels go to heaven. Needless to say, she was not going to be taking those kids to TM with her, especially after that pleasant conversation. Jax, Chibs, and Bobby meet up with Jury and his crew, Indian Hills, and they go over the details on how they're going to hurt Lynn from the inside out and destroy everything he loves, and eventually slowly torturing him to death for Tara's murder. And after a call from Tig, Sam Crow and the Indian Hills hit the road to go smack the bitch up. On that heroin gun trade about to go down. Not in this town. And luckily, Jury brings in some local muscle. Poor motherfuckers. Good thing they had a truck, because it really came in handy. So Nero agrees to take Wendy to school, Abel's future school, and on the ride there, they exchange some stories about how they used to be users. And funny enough, same drug. She kind of looked up to him with his $2,000 a day habit, made her look like a little bitch. And at the end of the conversation, Nero explains that his honesty is all that he has at the end of the day. Finally, some classic Sam Crow action. Damn, isn't Chibs a boss? Long story short, a lot of Chinese dudes lose their lives. Not a single Sam Crow member even gets shot. A truck gets smashed up, well, technically, and a box truck. And they find out what they need to, that Lynn was exchanging guns for heroin. So the meeting with Borowski, Nero, and the new Prez over in Stockton for the Mayans, they have that meeting. And after butting heads a little bit, Borowski says it's going to cost $5 grand a week, if I remember correctly. And that Prez got up and left. He wasn't very happy about the price, you know. It's too much money. A tired Unser shows up at TM to talk to Gemma. He lays it out all on the table. He explains to her about his bathtub nap time and being bound and gagged. He knows that Juice is running from the club, and he still offers to help. God, what a great guy. And as Gemma promised, she came to Unser's trailer with some tea, found him sleeping, and while putting down the tea, saw Tara's file. She opened it up, started crying. She could not handle it, closed it up, and left. But guess what? She knows now that Unser is a consultant for our new sheriff. And as Nero and Wendy leave Borowski, they get cut off and surrounded by Lynn and his goons. They confronted him. Why? To find out what he knows about the massacre that just occurred with their gun trade. Lynn demands that Nero goes and finds Jax because they need to have an immediate meeting to get down to the bottom of what just happened. You know, the massacre at the gun trade. Gemma has yet another sit down with Juice to talk about how he's gabbing them gums. She fills him in on Unser the consultant and assures him that she believes he really wants to help. She flops down a wad of cash, keys to her dad's house, and a new burner phone, and tells him, you gotta get out of here now. There's no more time to talk. Take the junkie's car. So once Juice is on the open road, he decides to use that burner to call Chibs. But why? And he doesn't say anything. I wonder where this is gonna go. Lynn looks like he's about to cry when he explains the massacre that just went down to Jax. And since Jax says it wasn't them, Lynn jumps on the blame train, and you know who's only one on there, right? Yeah, the Irish. Jax says he will put his Indian Hills crew on the case in response to Lynn's threatening to turn Mayberry into a killing field. That makes 2 Mayberry references in this episode. Interesting. Jax, Chibs, and Bobby show up to the Indian Hills local muscles house to compensate them for their efforts earlier in the day. Now, it panned out how I saw it in my head while watching that, oh man, those poor guys, they're dead. They're going to be the ones that take the fall. And that's exactly what happened. The boys shot and killed both of them, set the scene, and of course, I think you all saw that they left Jury's shotgun. This will not play out well for the boys in the end, my opinion though. And guess who was blamed for the Chinese massacre? Oh, the ones that took the fall. You know, the guys that they gotta shut up any way they can. Man, it really worked out, didn't it? The bodies of the Chinese were being buried in the forest, and it seemed as there was not enough room for all those bodies. Happy disagrees. He knows of 1,000 places to bury bodies. And then there's a scene with Juice, with his back to the front door. It's his first breakdown of the season. I almost felt bad for him. Jury shows up to check on his lads, you know, the local muscle, and he finds them both shot dead, and you see the rage in his eyes when he finds the shotgun he was using earlier in the Chinese massacre. Jack shows up to Gemma's house to finally see his boys. Bumps into Wendy. They bid each other good night. Then he goes and pays some attention to Thomas and then lays down with Abel as tears run from his eyes. Can you say heartbreaking? Yes, that was heartbreaking. Enough with the recap. It's time for some predictions, friends. Prediction 1. The Indian Hills are going to be feeling the pain that was caused by Sam Crow. I mean, did you see the rage in Jury's eyes? I mean, just look at the way that Jax was holding his son Abel, and then Jury holding his son. Yes, my prediction is the one he was holding was his son. And of course, that's before the triad comes, tortures Jury, getting some information, and then kills him. Prediction 2. Wendy is securing her place in Abel's life. Go Wendy. That's so awesome. I'm very happy to see that. And I mean, did you see the compassion in the exchange that Wendy and Jax had while saying goodnight in passing? I predict that they will reconnect. Now enough about the friends. Let's get to the foes. Prediction 1. Gemma. Yep, she made it to the foes list. My mistake last week. I meant to put a photo of Unser, not her. But anyways, prediction 1. Gemma sure knows how to make everything worse. I mean, look at all of these deaths. She was the catalyst to all of this mayhem. I predict that she'll tell another lie or two, ending in another life ended. Stop lying, Gemma. Dang. Prediction 2. Lynn is going to bring the boom to Scoops and Sweets. I'm not ready for it, but it's happening. Now those were my predictions. I want to hear yours. So let's move on to You Predict It. Last week on You Predict It, I essentially just told you how to play. So here are some great predictions that you, the fans, sent in. The first prediction comes from Kristen. I think Juice is sticking around to get to Jax through Chibs, possibly to get back in the club, sparing his life in exchange for telling Jax who Tara's real killer is and totally backstabbing Gemma. At this point, he has nothing to lose, and if he leaves, they will eventually find him and kill him anyway. He's weak and desperate. Good one. All right. And the second prediction comes from Sherry May. I think Juice is going to play the Mayans to win his way back into the club. Yep. I love it. All right. Third prediction comes from Nicole. I think that Juice is going back to the club and be their rat to get information about the other clubs. But Chibs will keep quiet about Juice for now. The Chinese will go after the club, and Juice may tell Chibs that Gemma killed Tara. I love it. I love it. That's pretty much what I was thinking with this whole You Predict It. So thank you for sending them in. You can do this every week by checking the Facebook fan page at facebook.com/AJ Marinaccio. I'll spell it for you. Marinaccio. There will be a You Predict It post. You will find it after every episode airs from Sons of Anarchy, and it will be there until 4 p.m., 5 p.m. Wednesday nights, right before I shoot this wonderful show. This week on You Predict It, I simply just want you to send in as many predictions as you can. I want to hear them all. Now, in closing, I have a few things that I'd like to talk about. 1. Do any of you like listening to some sweet-ass podcasts, especially about one of our favorite shows ever, Sons of Anarchy? Well, I know of 2. You need to go check out The Watchers of Anarchy and, of course, The Nattercast. I will have links for them down below, but let's just keep on moving on. I have a couple other things to talk about. Oh shit, that's right. We just completed our first contest of the season, and I had such a blast, and I know most of you did too. So this is what I want to do. I want to do them every week. But before we could do that, I have to announce the first winner. Da 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 da! Tabitha Edwards, congratulations. You won the first contest of the season. Now, behind me, there are 2 really cool looking posters. So the question is, which one would you like? I will be messaging you in the next day or 2, so you pick it, I'll ship it. Alright, well now that the first contest is over, let's do another one. So I'm going to announce it right now. This is how you play. go to the Facebook fan page, like it, then find the event for the new contest. Join it and follow the instructions. It's that easy. And have fun. So did you notice that clip in the beginning of this video that said freedom? Well, I gotta say, this week was one of the most amazing weeks. I was accepted into the Freedom Network for YouTubers. I mean, it's a big thing for my channel and what's gonna come after Sons of Anarchy in the future. But, you know, and then I get to end it with doing a live show with Tig and Juice Time with Theo Rossi and Kim Coates. I mean, it was amazing. So to Kim and Theo, thanks. I had a blast. And to the rest of you, I just want to say thank you for all of your support. If it wasn't for your efforts, I would not be where I am right now. Thank you for allowing me to live my dreams.
Why are you feeding the animals like that?
They want to know. Obviously, AJ wants to know. Look at his hair.
I can't take my eyes off
Look at AJ's
AJ.
What is it? Look at all this hair. This is